If a animal shares two-thirds of the same genetic code as the human, but is able to regenerate their eyesight, wouldn't you want to know how they do it? I started this research paper with the hope of figuring out about the regeneration process in a zebrafish. I soon realized that the topic was far too large for me to be able to cover the whole research on zebrafish. So much that has been done with the zebrafish that made it hard for me to narrow my topic down. With the help of my teacher and my fellow classmates, I was able to narrow my research down to the research done on zebrafish eyes. Only there was a problem. There are more than I had originally thought. I had not known how many of the factors had played in the part in this research. I made the decision to go with something I had wanted to know from the beginning. How are the Denaro able to regenerate their eyesight? The stakeholders are the people who have invested their life in the research done with zebrafish. Because there are so many stakeholders for every different form of research done with zebrafish, I had to narrow it down to the ones involved in the regeneration process of the fish's eyes. I believe that the main ones, like Notre Dame's Professor David Hyde. Professor Hyde has been involved with the regeneration process for 17 years. As a pre-medicine student, this topic has caught my interest because I am interested in the science and genetics. It helps to give me an insight to what are we developing with genetic science. I hope to be able to supply this medical discovery to future patients who have any kind of eye damage to their eyes. To heal those patients who need the most care. I want to help improve their overall life experience. I don't think that the lay person would be able to process this very well. Yes, before I had started all the research, I was a lay person. But that way, it gives me the right to believe that they wouldn't understand. This topic is confusing and can be hard to follow. I fear that they might get lost. I fear that they might get their hopes up. This research has been going for a very long time, and to get the hopes up will only disappoint them when they get the results they want right away. This research can put the thought of blindness. This research can put the thought that blindness cannot be cured into the past, but we've got to give it time. So I give it time, and I think so. Given it time, and I want to know is how are fish able to regenerate their eyesight? My first source was The Fish May Save Their Eyesight in the Notre Dame magazine by John Monski, published in the summer of 2012. Now you get to the research at hand. This research has been going for 25 years. This research project has brought a lot of information onto the table. We've been able to discover that zebrafish is an animal that is helpful to many people. Notre Dame Professor David Hyde and Kina, director of the Center of Zebrafish Research, were very interested in the eyesight repair. Professor Hyde has been studying problems with eyes throughout his 30-plus years of his career. He had first used fruit flies as a model system until he discovered the zebrafish, where he then continued his studies for another 17 years. Zebrafish offer several research advantages. Hyde says first they are vibrant and a higher level organism than fruit flies, and are more therefore their eyes is more like the human eye. Not long after the researchers had set up their labs, had they decided to test retinal damage with bright light to try and damage the zebrafish's eyes. Yet the experiment was a fail. They could not damage the retina with bright light. They had not understood why they had thought either that they had super zebrafish with premature natural powers, or they were doing something wrong. But the other option was that the fishes were temporarily blind. That means in the beginning the fish were only able to see for a short amount of time and then adjusted their eyesight to the bright light. It had turned out that the zebrafish was regenerating their eyesight so fast that even the researchers had noticed the regeneration process. They had not realized the speed of the regeneration process in the fish, but we thought it would be extremely slow, as others had shown with goldfish. Goldfish, it takes up to 9 months to repair damage done to their retina areas, and the zebrafish were only taking 1 month to repair any and all damage. Another discovery by Hayden and his associates. Subsequently, the cells are identified as adult stem cells, namely cells that have uncanny ability to change from a different cell into a specialized cell, such as bone or nerve or muscle. This discovery is unusual for a fish or many animals to have the ability to make a cell into another without any problems of transfer. The ND biologists found that the fish eyes senses retinal damage. The Mueller cells, which normally support cells within the eye, are triggered to divide and migrate into the retina, where they are transformed into photoreceptor cells, replacing the damaged ones. This is the main research. This is the main reason my interest in the topic goes to a higher level. After I had reviewed the article, it made me want to do this research. Unfortunately for me, this research was not allowing me to fully understand the meaning behind behind all the research they had provided. What I mean by this is, after I had read the information provided by the Notre Dame magazine, I don't know if it still makes sense to me. I decided to do more research on where the zebrafish came from. According to Fish for Science, which became available in 2011 by the University of Sheffield Science, MRC, Cultural for Development and Biomedical Genetics Center, Denano Rio, commonly known as the zebrafish, live mainly in rivers, ponds, and Ganges regions of India, where they also can be found in Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Mauritania. Fish for Science says the Nano rivers have many different appearances. Most commonly, when the fish has 5 blue horizontal stripes on the sides of its body. Male fish have gold stripes between the blue stripes going down each side of the fish's body. Females will appear to have a wider and larger belly, as well as silver stripes between the blue stripes instead of gold. Most adult zebrafish will grow up to 3 to 5 cm long and 1 cm wide. They have the lifespan of 5 years, but can only last in the wild for 2 to 3. Unfortunately, when the fish is tested on it will live up to 6 months to a year. This fish is considered omnivorous, meaning that they eat plants and animals. But they primarily eat zooplankton, insects, and phytoplankton. But in captivity, the zebrafish diet consists of eating conventional fish food. This fish can adapt to any situation. Is it possible for a gene to regenerate their eye is a gene that was developed over time as a survival instinct? We wouldn't know. All we can compare this information to is the Charles Darwin's theory. I had decided to look there next to help me understand why it could be an instinct. Then, according to the Charles Darwin theory of evolution, the premise All About Science, copyright 2002 through 2012, Charles Darwin's main theories about the world and the animals that had lived on it. But all I wanted to know was how animals develop the ability like regeneration in the eyes over time. site had 3 different theories on the page, but we are going to only focus on the Charles Darwin's theory called the premise. According to All About Science, the theory is all life are related to one ancestor. This would explain why we're able to share 2/3 of the same genetic code as humans with fish. When I read this, it began to come all together. It seemed harder than it actually was. But because this is only a theory, which was never proved, not many people would agree with this logic. This is not a theory that has been proven or set in stone as being a logical answer. It would not help to make the lay people of this to believe that we share 2/3 of the same genetic code with a fish. This did, though, help me to getting more in depth with the other possible genetic theories that are available. But I wanted to know more and get even more in depth with the research done by other scientists. So I told myself I want to get back into the research with a new look on it. That left me to ask, what was I going to be looking for now? That's when I found Towards a Better Understanding of the Human Eye Disease, Insights from the Zebrafish Denariera by Bukowitz, Jonathan, Rachel K. Tuttle, Jeffrey M. Gross. This was made available by the National Center of Biotechnology Information Progress Molecular Biology Transit Science in 2011. U.S. National Library of Medicine National Institutes of Health was made available in the PMC in 2012 on January 1st. The site was that I used to see what other things the fish was involved in and how this researchers was looking into the regeneration progress of the zebrafish. This was able to give me a step-by-step process on tools and techniques, also as well as eye development and anatomy of the zebrafish. This is a good site for trying to understand everything one step at a time. They take you through a process that makes a reader feel more involved with the research. I was able to keep up with the process that the researchers had given us to follow. This is when I wanted to understand the other side of the research, and this meant finding out what animal activists thought about the research being done on zebrafish. That's when I discovered a newspaper article by Ian Sample called "The Use of the Animals in UK Research Highest for 25 Years." I found the article in the newspaper called The Guardian, published Tuesday, the 10th July 2012. In the newspaper The Guardian, the readers discovered that Chung Chisi, an assistant professor in the Scripps Florida Department of Metabolism and Aging, had left from Harvard Medical and brought 2,500 zebrafish with him to Scripps, with plans to mate them to 30,000. He had stated that the fish have been exposed to harsh environments that mimic those of humans. This means strong UV lights, weather change, temperature change in the water, and harsh environment. I have learned that they are very cruel to the fish and put them through a lot. The source is very nice to have because it shows the truth about the way the fish are treated. About half the fish that researchers use die after being put in these harsh environments. I can understand why this isn't what the fish are used to. These made me want to find out what others are doing, not only by only writing about it, but what actions are they taking, what plans do they have to help the zebrafish. Xenon Knights writes for the One Green Planet The article is called "Why is Animal Testing on the Rise in the UK Spite of Years of Protests?" This was posted on August 28, 2012. Nice wrote her newspaper article about the British people having been protesting animal testing for 25 years. But the research has yet to stop. She doesn't understand why they can't stop the animal testing. Now, once again, they have ignored the people's wishes. They are now going to be building a new animal test research building. She talks to the others and comes to a conclusion. Maybe it's all the new technology becoming available to them. Does it make it harder for them to quit? Just because they got a new machine, that mean they should continue testing on animals? In this article, Fish in research and toxicity testing and the need for alternatives provided by the AZ magazine published in the winter of 2008 NSAASVS Research Analysis. This article provides information from animal rights companies. They talk about how the effects of testing can have better alternatives. They try and describe that the labs are actually cruel to the animals. They try to convince them that they could do the test a very different way. They also help you understand why their opinions matter. They prove that they are well established. This article also writes about the zebrafish being overly used for every kind of research experiment. They are saying that zebrafish have now become the research common animal for cruel testing. Zebrafish are easy to test on, and the government does not regulate them, meaning that the zebrafish that live in labs are not recorded. So labs can have up to 30,000 zebrafish, and the government wouldn't know or care. The animal rights are trying to convince the people as well as the researchers to try something new. The article is important because it's a reliable source for understanding where we might be abusing a common animal, where they are well informed and do a great job of expressing their point of view without being too harsh to readers, and some readers may disagree with them. This led me to a site called The Speaking of Research, where I read an article by Blue Sky Science posted on February 16, 2011. The article was called A Fish Named Hope. The article expressed how they do animal research and testing, but they perform it in a way that the animals are not being put in the harsh environments or getting harsh treatment. They talk about a campaign where they are starting to try and help the animals, as well as helping the regeneration in the medical world. This is a program that can prove that you can have both sides agree. We can get the research we want and still treat the animals with respect without cruelty. This is a source that shows me how important it is to be able to see both sides of the story. It helps me to find the middle ground. In conclusion, I feel that my thoughts had gone back and forth as I read about the research in animal rights. My thoughts still remain pretty much the same, though. I'm happy they are doing this research, and I can't wait till it is completed. I will be very excited to be able to apply it someday. I do understand where the animal rights come from and why they are fighting for them. Yet, in the case of the fish that is easy to breed, I feel that there should be no worry. In the end, I was able to stay with my research question and got the answer I was looking for in a way that a layperson and I would understand. In my essay 3, my argument would be that are animal rights trying to be worried about something they don't need to be worried about? The fish are going through this to help improve the life of humans. The fish are not going to be extinct, so why are The fish are not going to extinct, so why not just keep testing? I would have an audience of people involved in animal rights and researchers who want to keep the research continued. This topic could have also the audience of those who just support the research being done or the animal rights. This topic can be a topic of many people's interest.